So, first of all, hope you've been having a lovely time at the World Transformed. Looks like you've had a really good time. And I just want to say, first of all, it's a partisan interview. I'm not pretending it's anything but our mainstream media puts on a right-wing framing. It's our job as alternative media to put on a left-wing framing, so just before we start. So, this morning you did a panel with Zara Sultana on red-green alliances and how the left can keep pressure on the right wing, keep the right wing on the defensive, so to speak. How did you feel that panel went?
It went really well. I knew that the audience or the crowd were going to be warm to me, but I was surprised kind of at the overwhelming sense of how excited people are about me and more widely the Green Party. I think people were really happy to hear that I have no intention of sparring or having any difficulties with either Zara Sultana or Jeremy Corbyn. They're two people who I respect them a lot. I respect their politics a lot. I do think, the Green Party have just hit 15% in the polls. That's our highest ever this century. By the time we've done this interview, I don't know when, or maybe in the next few days, we're going to hit 100,000 members. When I became leader, I think, or when I launched my leadership, it was around about between 50 and 60,000. So the membership has pretty much doubled in the last couple of months. And that's on my very explicit ticket, which is a socialist, progressive, left-wing ticket about bold politics, being clear about what we stand for and clear about what we stand against. So it's absolutely up to Zara and Jeremy what they want to do. It's not for me to tell other people what to do. But the overwhelming sense I got in the room of people are more and more looking at the Green Party and actually going, if there is a grassroots democratic party that is one member, one vote, Socialist Party being very clear about what they stand for, I think the call to join the Green Party has never been louder.
When you appeared on Question Time on Thursday night, Zia Youssef kept repeating that we've added 6.5 million net new people to the UK through immigration and that our country can't cope with this level of immigration. Why are 6.5 million new taxpayers such a concern to reform, and what does it say about their economic agenda?
I mean, Zia Youssef was full of bollocks, and I think it was important to call that out on TV. I think also what became really clear to me about reform is there are a bunch of cowards. Ever since Thursday night, Reform have repeatedly attacked me online, including a tweet from Richard Tice this morning, which was linked to a Piers Morgan interview that I also did on Thursday night, so the same night as Question Time, where Piers Morgan is combative, but I don't think any reasonable person can watch that interview and think he doesn't come across as anything but silly and ridiculous, and it's just constant culture war nonsense. I think it's also really clear, when I was on Question Time, I talked about Nathan Gill and the Russia connection. I knew there was a risk that I was going to lose the audience because most of the audience I knew wouldn't understand who Nathan Gill is or haven't heard of Nathan Gill, so didn't know this story. I also took the gamble, and I think it paid off because it's been talked about for 3 days ever since, including Ed Davey, always late to the party. But at least he's there yesterday, also talking about the same thing. But this is a real national scandal where a man, and it's really important to spell it out, who was connected with Russia, got found guilty on 8 charges of bribery, of being a Russian asset, was clearly a friend, a confidant of Nigel Farage, who Zia Youssef, when he was asked about him, said, Nigel Farage doesn't know him, he meets thousands of people. This man was an MEP with Nigel Farage. He was the leader of Wales Reform Party. The idea that Nigel Farage did not know who this man was, completely unbelievable. As well as that, on the night after Brexit, Nigel Farage was pictured with 4 men behind him. Nathan Gill was one of these 4 men. So I think Reform have absolutely been called out. And rather than kind of deal with the allegation, which how are they going to deal with it? Instead, what they've done is just gone on culture war stuff and attacked me. Absolutely delighted. They are so rattled, and that's exactly the place that I wanted them to be in.
Yes, I did actually want to ask about the Piers Morgan interview, because you appeared on the Piers Morgan and he hit you with the "can a woman have a penis" question, and you answered and he said you don't know what a woman is. Well, you gave an answer. He might whinge, he might whine, he might disagree, but you did give an answer. So my question is, why do you think the right wing want participation medals for bringing up trans people or immigration rather than engaging with your argument? What is it that they're afraid of?
It's all a distraction. It's smokes and mirrors. So rather have the conversation we need to have in this country about inequality, about the fact that multimillionaires and billionaires are screwing over our democracy, our communities and our environment, rather than actually tax them and have a fair taxation system. It's much easier to point the finger and create division at migrants, at trans people, at disabled people, at people who don't work, at people, they will always find a reason to other people, and it's a constant distraction from the conversation. I think the skill all of us need to work on the left, and I mean we can always just get better at it, is one, showing solidarity to the people. I sometimes worry in the left, I hear conversations about let's just focus on inequality, and solidarity has been lost. It's really vital that solidarity is shown. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us, and we've got to push back against that attack. And at the same time, without dropping a beat, we need to get back to inequality and back to the thing that we're distracting from. And that's tricky. I include that for myself, but for anyone, because we're often in media environments that are not friendly to us, that have no interest in actually platforming us. And I think that's also it's a nice answer to finish on. But where Turn Left come in, and all independent media, and in fact I'll pitch Bold Politics with Zack, my podcast that went to number 3 in the country. But the reason why these areas are important is because it's right you scrutinise me, it's right you put a microphone if I say something you don't think's right, or you've got a question, it's always right I'm held accountable. But it's also right that someone's allowed to finish their sentence, or they're allowed to actually have an opinion rather than just be like heckled down.
Since I last spoke to you, the Raise the Colours movement has taken off in the UK. Starmer says he hangs the England flag around in his house, and Yvette Cooper has claimed that she has Union Jack tablecloths and bunting ready to go at a moment's notice. Now, I've got a Union Jack fridge magnet, and I'll use the flag when the football's on, but this bizarre performance and going out at night to like splurge paint on roundabouts, it's so out of step with how most people view a healthy, balanced relationship with our national flag. Why can't Starmer and Cooper have a normal relationship with the flag that says you can be proud of it, but you don't have to be weird about it?
I love the idea, why can't Starmer and Cooper just be normal? I mean, it just seemed to be absolutely impossible under almost all circumstances. I think the first thing you point to is really important. We just don't believe it. And I think for any politician, the inauthenticity that shines through. I'm sure there are people who hang the flag and who have bunting on their fireplace. I just think the idea that this has suddenly come about and Yvette Cooper's been doing this for the whole time, it just doesn't sit right. Anyway, we'll never know because only a husband would know, and other than if he's going to demonstrate that on GMB while he's defending the Labour government's decision, we'll never know. I think more widely though, the really important point here is I also wave the flag during football games. In fact, I paint my flag or I paint my face. I have done previously in the St George's flag in football games, and that's patriotism for your football team and in that moment. But this idea of waving the flag constantly is actually an import from America, ironically, and it's an import that's often come with religious evangelism, hate against minority groups, and kind of right-wing nationalism. And that's not something we should be importing in any way at all. I mean, it's already on the doorstep with Farage, and Starmer is constantly appeasing to it. But I don't understand what he's trying to do here. It's the same with indefinite leave of remain, when he went from 5 years to 10 years. It's not like the right of the fascists are going to go, oh great, he's given us a little bit, we're not going to keep pushing him. And ultimately, people who want that will vote reform anyway, so there's no strategy here from the Labour government. I wouldn't care about that, it's not my job to make Labour better, but what I do care about is I'm also a citizen of this country, and we're on this roller coaster of being constantly pulled to the right. I think the good news is not only are Reform attacking me, Labour are attacking me, and I think there's a point where their attacks won't work, and there will be a point where they go, we really need to shift strategy there. And then without even winning seats yet, and both at the council level and MPs, we can already be informing what the Labour government are doing, and that's really winning in politics.
I've seen more personal attacks on you over your appearance and the Sun's hypnosis breast story recently. What do you think this says about the impact of your messaging and how it's cutting through as the Greens approach 100,000 members for the first time in history?
Well, I really wanted to say to Richard Tice that no one's a bigger tit in this country than he is, but I was told I wasn't allowed to say that, so I'm glad I've never said it. But also I think it shows exactly that they see the Green Party as a threat more than ever before, both in terms of the 39 seats that were in second place in the country, the nearly 2 million votes that we got, and literally there have been days this week where 3,000 members have joined every single day. I was reflecting with my team earlier that there was a day where only 1,000 people joined, and I felt slightly disappointed. Quite a place for the Green Party to be in. The political broadcast has been seen over 10 million times. I'm not surprised that the personal attacks have started, because if they want to attack me on the politics, what are they going to say? Oh, we want to defend multimillionaires and billionaires, don't be mean to them. Or as Piers Morgan said, we want to defend planes against non-violent direct attacks, as if that they really need our protection rather than the people who have bombs raining down on them. And so the right just don't actually have a line of attack against me that's political. They've got loads of lines about my teeth, about my history as an actor, about my name change. Also, I think there is something remarkable here, that the party that claims to stand against anti-Semitism want to attack a Jewish man in politics for reclaiming his Jewish heritage 20, 30 years ago and not think that's anti-Semitic. I think there's questions there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Zack Polanski.
Thanks very much.